So it's going to take a little while to cool off. No, it's not a good thing because my room would go over 100.
That's hot.
Yes, it is.
And it's very cold outside.
And nobody should mess with my thermostat either. I have no clue who did it.
I have no idea how to do it. Just throw away something.
Okay, so we're going to look at two different views of the Theodore Roosevelt Dam. We've seen one view of it, and do you remember me saying yesterday, I wonder what the other view is? You remember that? Hello? No, the rest of my students don't remember that statement?
I do. I do not.
Oh, not cool.
I do.
You do? Okay, good. All right, I have to find my Elmo software because right now Elmo's not showing up. Because, you know, if it can go wrong on technology today, it's going to do it. No, it's not showing up. There we go.
Now you're probably going to have to do it twice.
Of course. Okay, share screen. There we go. Nope. Routine. Routines, yo. There we go. I was showing y'all the wrong view first. Okay, so wrong photo. Right photo. So here is one side of the Theodore Roosevelt Dam. Okay, we've seen this side several times, right?
We haven't seen the other side. It's really big.
It is really big, especially since those little bitty dots down there that we can barely see our cars. And we know the importance now of using rock instead of dirt. Because yesterday we had a
an experiment that was collapsed.
yes, we had a dirt collapse. In second and third block, I moved the dam downstream from the place where water was being added, and we didn't have a collapse. It worked like it was supposed to, which was great. But we had the dam in first block too close to where the water was being input, so there was too much pressure on the dam. And so the water went right around the dam instead of going through the gate.
So
Rocks would have worked better, especially solid rock like they did. A wall of concrete worked really well.
But how did they put that there?
They drilled into the walls of rock.
Like if it wasn't already made.
They drilled into the walls of rock.
They made it.
Okay.
And helicopters threw it in.
All right, so there is the first photograph. Let me make sure I'm sticking to the lesson plan. So give me a second. All right, so that was the downstream, no. That was a photo we've seen before. I'm going to show you the downstream view of the Theodore Roosevelt Dam. So this is the same view, the same side, but up high, like they took it from a helicopter. I'm going to show you how I know it's the same view. There's that building we saw. There's the other building. So this is the same side, but up higher.
Yeah, there are those.
Okay.
How is the water two different colors? Let me use it for the word. That's a lake, isn't it? One gets stuck with algae and all that. I wonder.
Not algae.
It's a
We'll
small,
discuss in just a second.
it's a small pond and then a big old lake. I just wondered, how is that side blue and that side? That's what I just said. That's a good question. That's all.
Okay, so you guys didn't see this as much yesterday because our dam, it didn't stop the water up and it didn't push water through the gate. Let me pull up the photo from second block. I don't know that I got a photo in third block because my phone died.
Who won? I know it was an our block. Nope. Definitely not block 1. Maybe block 35. 3 or 5.
Okay, so look. Back here, this is behind the dam. You can see right here, the water in this one little spot looked clear. There's sediment on the bottom, but this one little area, the water looks clear. Over here, the water doesn't look so clear, does it? Now, look here. Over here, on the bottom, there's probably what? Sediment. Just like that. But all that area on top is probably clear.
That looks like gay.
No, not good.
It could look gay. It does look like that. Is that yellow part sand?
Yes.
That is some bright sand.
Well, Elmo. All right. So on this side, you have a clear area here, but here you have a lot of erosion, so there's a lot of sediment. Compare that to over here. This is a lot of sediment mixed in with the water, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what you see here is a lot like this, isn't it? In the color of the water, the fact that over here you have a clear lake and over here you have,
A pond?
no, it's more like a river because it kept flowing and it was not clear. It was more filled with sediment like that. The fact that this is a river meant the level over here was what? I didn't get the photo early, so this was up high.
Oh.
And this was a river, so what was the level on this side? Low. What about this picture?
High, low.
High before the dam, after the dam, it's what?
Low.
Low. And this is sediment filled. So this we copied right there. That second block, and I know that because it has red modeling clay at the bottom.
But that looks orange.
Yeah, it's the way that Elmo's doing it. Did you have your temperature taken, Hunter? Don't touch the desk then. I know you guys walking in don't see how many disruptions this is, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 disruptions in the past 15 minutes. That's a lot of disruptions for the teacher.
That's so cool. I can't get me put on the overall.
Okay, so this is second block. No, that was third block with red. With second block, this was after the water ran out. So before the water ran out, there was a lake over here and it got up to this level. Can you see this like foamy bit on the side,
Yeah.
that's how high the lake got back here. So it got up to about right there on the dam. And over on this side, it stayed a low level river. And over here, it actually looked pretty clear while it was moving. Once it stopped moving, you could see that it had moved a lot of sediment.
You can't see the hole.
Holes right here.
That is black.
Holes right there.
Those things are gone now. We don't have to play with no more dirt.
No, but point is, the stream table exactly simulated this. Okay, so this is the downstream end. There's the upstream we can see, but this is the downstream view. And was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get a picture at all of third block. Oh, sure enough, because here was the erosion on the side.
That is so pretty.
Here is the other side. What happened there?
Land.
That is land. What caused it? That is sediment, yes, but why is there sediment there?
Because it maybe built up underwater.
Yes, but what's going on? Is the water level high on that side?
No.
No. What do we know about dams? One side tends to cause a what? What would we call this?
High side.
What is that high side called? What is that thing?
Lake?
A lake. And the other side tends to be,
A river.
or it does what to the river?
It makes it get lower.
It makes it get lower or just turn into a, not a lake. The other side is a lake, guys.
Pond.
Nope.
River.
Nope.
Pond? She said no. She already said no to all of them.
Okay, since we don't remember yesterday's lesson, we're going to go backwards. All right, so this was before the dams. There were 23 rivers. Are there any lakes?
No.
I need y'all to stop moving the desk, and I need everybody's attention this way, since y'all clearly don't remember any of the lessons that I've taught. There are 23 rivers before there were any dams. Are there any lakes? Okay, no lakes, 23 rivers, no dams. Got it? 17 dams. What else do you see? Lots of lakes. What else do you see? What? Fewer rivers. What happened to the rivers?
The lake stole most of the water out of it.
So the rivers did what?
They dried up.
They dried up. It turned more into a
Ponds.
it dried up, turning the area, a lot of it into
Land.
what should be called Maybe if you went into yesterday's paperwork, you might find your answers, because I'm not giving it to you. You need to know this because you have conceptual checkpoint Thursday and you have assessment Monday. And not just 3 people need to know this. Every person needs to know this.
Stocked up the sediment.
When the rivers dry up, that makes the area turn more into a
Swampy? Oh, river. No, when the river dries up.
when an area dries up, what does it turn into?
Land.
What kind of land? What land formed?
Rocky. Would it be rocky?
Drawing is not going to come up with the answer. I promise. Allie. Get one. I don't know why 10 minutes into being in my class, you decide you need a pencil.
A mud island.
Not a mud island. If you've had water before and now there's no water, what?
A desert.
A desert. If you don't have the rivers that you used to have, and it's hot and it's dry, that's called a desert. Okay? So, when you install dams, lots of dams, one side tends to turn into a lake,
And then the other side turns into a desert.
either a lower river or it'll dry up, and it could turn into a desert. Look at this land. This land looks dry, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's looking a little bit like a desert, not completely a desert, but it's looking pretty dry.
Wait, doesn't the
This side doesn't, but this side looks really dry.
yeah. There's a difference between that side and this side. This side got this one's like
Yeah, I don't know why this side's so wet. And it could be shadow, because this right over here looks like rocks. It could very well be shadows.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is lower water level. Okay, and this looks very dry. The only plants we see are little scrub bushes, like you'd see in a desert. Okay, this is a sediment island, like a little mud island. That river is lower. Not a desert yet, but it's getting there.
Yeah, because you can see that the sand is gonna like a sandbar.
It is, it's a big old sandbar. And you can see right here more of it. That water's shallow right there.
I have a question. What is that stuff that makes it look like all dotty?
Right back here,
Yeah.
that's a lot of water moving.
It looks like rapids.
It does, that's a lot of water moving, probably from gates. This right here looks like a hole. It could be gates where they're letting water through.
Yeah.
And I bet there's gates over here also where they're letting water through.
Yeah. Ew.
This gate might be closed because we
You can
don't
kinda
see any water.
lines. You can see lines.
Over here, yes. Okay, so I think that's probably a gate and probably another gate on the side.
But I wonder how far it goes.
I don't know, because my husband's walking in the house. This right here looks like part of a circle,
Yeah, it does.
and it's the same dam. This is the Theodore Roosevelt Dam, and this is the other side of it. So it's a partial circle,
Yeah.
okay?
So I think it was made like if the dam
It's old.
like curves,
It does curve, yes.
and that's cool.
So today we're looking at the purpose of dams.
Why do people build dams?
Yes. So one side forms a lake and the other side will have a lot less water on it. It either causes the river to completely dry up or to just have a lot less water. So we saw sediment on one side of the dam, just like in the stream table from second block. Somewhat like the stream table in third block, but we had so much erosion and ours kind of collapsed in first block that not quite as
I
much.
don't think we put the thingy in the right spot.
It was too close to the water input area.
Yeah.
The river looked narrower after the dam. It didn't look like that in the stream table, just because of the way the river bed was designed. Does the photographs support the claim that building a dam on a river causes a lake to form?
Yeah.
Did we see a lake on one side of the dam in the photos?
Yes.
And we saw that with second blocks, the photo of second block too, right? We saw a lake form behind the dam, right? Yes, no, anybody awake?
Yes.
Okay. If building a dam changes the environment, why do you think people would build one? Why do you think people would build a dam? What possible reason would people have for building a dam?
I don't know, so it slows water down?
Why would you want to slow down water?
So it doesn't flood?
So it wouldn't flood. What else?
So...
Come on, guys, brainstorm. Why else do you think people would build a dam?
To protect people
From
flooding?
flooding. What else, guys?
To protect people from
Okay, so I'm kind of drawing blanks. I'm going to help you out. Turn to page 83 in your notebook. Look on page 83. I want each person, not reading out loud, not turning to your neighbor, read through those reasons and put an X next to anything you think is a reason why people might build a dam. And then explain why you chose those reasons.
an X?
Put an X by anything you think is reasons people build dams. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Then trade it out. You don't sit there wasting all your time, Hunter. Okay, so here is a teacher note that I think is really good to think about. We have to understand that dams have many benefits, but we have to also remember that dams can have negatives. Because remember, we had questions about, can dams prevent fish from swimming freely up both sides of the dam? Are there going to be fish that get trapped on one side of the river? How much is that going to change the environment on both sides of the river? And is that going to cause problems? So they have to, when I say they, the engineers that decide to build the dam, they have to look at how that's going to change the environment. Is that going to be a good thing or a bad thing? Right? Just like with medicines, doctors don't just give medicines because it will help a person. They have to also make sure it's not going to cause more harm than good. Does that make sense?
They also have to make sure you're not allergic to something.
You know, guys know how I've mentioned a bunch of times that I've had C. diff, right? So for the rest of my life, before I can take antibiotics, we have to make sure that any benefit I get outweighs the risk of me getting C. diff. Because C. diff, I don't know if I told this class or another class, C. diff kills more people every year than HIV, AIDS, and car wrecks all added together. Quite fatal. And I've had it 6 times. And I've lived through every bout of it. It's what killed my grandmother years and years and many years ago, way before I ever had it. So, I mean, I went on a certain vacation, the vacation to go see the footprints of the dinosaur. I went on that vacation because I didn't know that I was going to survive C. diff, and I wanted to see that before I took the bucket. And the picture on the top of my bookcase over there, that was our wedding vows renewal, 25th anniversary. I mean, that's a big anniversary. And we didn't have a big wedding to begin with. We got married in my husband's grandmother's dining room many years ago, 27 years ago now. But we had that summer because that was the summer I had C. diff, and I didn't know if I was going to make it. So sometimes when you have bad things occurring, you celebrate every thing that comes your way. Does that make sense? So I do what I can to avoid getting sick again. So every time I get an infection that involves taking antibiotics, I take the lowest dose possible. And the doctors make sure they know exactly what bacteria I have, so they don't have to give me more than one kind of antibiotic. So when they find out I have an illness, I don't start taking antibiotics until they grow on a petri dish to find out exactly what bacteria I have. So I have to be sick for a few more days every time they find out I have some kind of bacteria, so they can find out exactly what I have before they start giving me antibiotics. That way they make sure they give me exactly what I need and nothing extra. So that's a matter of making sure you don't cause more harm than good from the treatment. Same way with the dams. They want to make sure the dams are built in such a way that they cause more good by building them than bad. Does that make sense? They don't want to make any fish depleted on their numbers if it's one that's already low on numbers. Or let's say there's a bird that only eats one kind of fish. You don't want to make that bird not be around anymore, right? So they have to make sure they're not going to change the environment too much. So there's a risk to building things. That could be a lot of things.
What about a house?
Building a house, they would have to make sure that that person can get another home or move somewhere. But there are risks and benefits to a lot of different things. Okay, so did anybody check off recreational use? Nobody checked recreational use for a dam. Don't dams create lakes? Who has ever gone jet skiing or swimming or picnicking at a lake? Seriously, not everybody? You better believe dams are built for recreational use. Absolutely. Didn't y'all see all those lakes on the map? Those lakes bring in a whole lot of money, y'all. Did anybody check off trap fish in the lake for food? People go fishing, yo. We should know that down here. Anybody check collect drinking water? They do. They're collecting. You can. We're going to come back to some of these too. Make a wall to keep people out.
No.
No. Slow down fast rivers. Yeah, that could be it. That could be a safety thing. Slow down erosion. You can do that. I don't know if they'd build a dam to slow down erosion, but it could. Prevent flooding.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What about produce electricity? Very good, Ricardo. We're about to explore that actually. Welcome to math class.
Math.
Oh, y'all didn't notice that sign on the door. Darn. Yeah, welcome to math. Yes, welcome math. All right, did everybody explain their reasoning for their choices down here? Explain why you chose what you chose. I need a statement. This page is worth 4 points. Today's work is worth 13 in total. So explain this. Okay, explain your reasoning. You have about 2 minutes. Okay, as a reminder, we do not have school Tuesday. No, just explain a couple.
Tomorrow.
Tuesday. That's not tomorrow. Tuesday. Election day. I'm going to vote. I don't like either one of those people, but going to vote. And then getting this thing removed.
I already made it. Can we not fit?
By the way, Miss Tran was so helpful last night. We were both up here till late evening. She pointed out that on Netflix, they have a Magic School Bus episode called Rocks and Rolls. I have it written on the board. It is about erosion and weathering. Okay, so if you have Netflix, you can watch that at home. I did.
I do.
I have terrible speakers right now. It's the ones that the science department provided me. They're awful. I've ordered new ones, but they won't be until next week.
My little brother, he's 7. He watches Magic School Bus. We watched the Magic School Bus.
That's exactly what I normally watch on Netflix. I watch scary shows.
I
I don't exactly what. What?
You watch Scream.
That's not my kind of scary show.
That's right.
All right. Next activity, read about the Hoover Dam. All right, so we're going to learn more about dams and their uses. Okay. And we're not going to read, what's this? That's a lot of words.
Oh my
Yeah, no, that's a no. We're going to read this one where the words are bigger. I like this one better. much less words.
It's still pretty long though.
Not really. This is the whole page.
That's the whole page?
That's it.
Oh, wow.
That's not bad.
That's not a lot.
No, it's not.
What is a
Compared to that one. Yeah, no, I saw that and I was like, oh no, no, this one sounds much better. All right, so we're going to read about the Hoover Dam. We've been looking at photos of the Theodore Roosevelt Dam, which is in Arizona. This is the Hoover Dam, controlling water in the West. This is not the entire book. These are excerpts, okay? The 1,450-mile long Colorado River is a vital waterway in the West. It is a resource for 30 million people. How many people get water from it?
30 million.
30 million. So the Colorado River provides water for a lot of people. And not necessarily water, but a resource. It doesn't say what resource it provides. One of the greatest man-made marvels, the Hoover Dam, was built after flooding of the Colorado River damaged farms and towns. The dam was designed to harness that river's potential power. Spanning the river between Nevada and Arizona, so if you look up on the map, Arizona and Nevada. Here is the Colorado. The Hoover Dam is right here. So the blue state, where it meets the yellow state, the Hoover Dam is right here. Yes, it's right at the edge. I need the talking to stop. The Hoover Dam is right here at the border where they meet. And the Colorado River starts up here. Actually starts up here. All the way down here.
Wow. That's the orange and yellow.
It's a long river. And the Hoover Dam is right here. Okay. The dam supplies water, provides hydroelectric power, and controls flooding for 7 states in the American Southwest and Mexico. So it supplies water. So the question or the comment here, drinking water, electricity, and prevents flooding. Water provides hydroelectric power, controls flooding for 7 states and Mexico. Beginning in June 1933, workers poured concrete 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 2 years. The dam contains a total of 3.25 million cubic yards of concrete, which is enough to pave a 2-lane highway from San Francisco, California to New York, New York. In addition to the dam itself, workers built spillways, channels to carry off excess water. The men also built, Hunter, I need you looking that way. The men also built a hydroelectric plant. Hydro means water, electric, obviously power. Plant to convert the power of moving water into electricity. Falling water causes a turbine to spin, which generates electricity. When the dam was completed, the river still flowed through 2 of the diversion tunnels, which were outfitted with valves. Was it this class where someone asked what happened with the river while they were building the? Yeah, Jordan. Okay, so that's where it's answered. The river still flowed through 2 of the diversion tunnels, which were outfitted with valves. The valves control the water that is released downstream for irrigation purposes to support California's Imperial Valley. So this dam also waters the farms, which is an important commercial agricultural region.
Wait, but we can't put that on there.
I know, but that's another purpose for the dam. As the released river was allowed to flow again, it filled up the canyon behind the dam. The body of water that resulted, Lake Mead, took almost 7 years to fill completely. Water from Lake Mead flows through the dam's intake towers and pipes and into the power plant. The power plant produces enough energy to serve 1.3 million people a year. So what's a major purpose for a dam?
Power.
It produces power for people.
Energy, which is basically light, right?
On September 30th, 1935, President Franklin D. Roosevelt dedicated the Hoover Dam. It reaches a height of 726 feet. It has a base thickness of 660 feet, the equivalent of 2 football fields end to end, that tapers to 45 feet thick at the top. Today, Hoover Dam continues to control the waters of the Colorado River and supply electricity. It was designated a National Historic Landmark in 1985. Lake Mead, the largest reservoir in the United States, a reservoir is a man-made lake, was the first site to be designated a national recreation area. Nearly 8 million people visit the dam each year. Okay, so let's go to page 85. We're going to kind of discuss what we just read. So the text is called the Hoover Dam. Yes, you're writing this down. Controlling water in the West.
Those 2 dots are what they're called.
The 2 dots are called colon.
Oh, I forgot what they're called.
All right, so the first question, connect. How does this information about the Hoover Dam connect to what we already knew? How does this information about the Hoover Dam connect to information we already knew? Jordan answers a lot of my questions. I want to hear from other people in my class. How does this information about the Hoover Dam connect to information we already knew? Come on, guys. The longer we take on this, the less time we're going to have to do our math. And the math lessons, let me give you a little. Yeah, we're doing some serious math. So we need to get to the math, which means you don't have time to be just sitting here. You're going to have some serious homework if you don't start answering some questions. How does this information about the Hoover Dam connect to information we already knew? Yes, ma'am.
Because we already knew that. Because we already knew that. You can stop the water. You can stop the water from on his side.
Okay, so we knew that we could. We knew we could stop the water of a river. What else?
We already knew that we could control the river.
We knew we could control a river. Okay. What river have we been talking about all along? Colorado. Was the Hoover Dam article about the Colorado River? Okay, give me a statement. Tell me what to write. The Colorado River, where does it go? What does it go through?
Wait, we need to look it. We need to look.
Colorado River runs through. What have we been talking about this whole unit? No, not the Roosevelt. What have we been talking about this whole time, guys?
River.
Colorado River runs through the, what have we been talking about?
No, we need to look at it. We need to make sure.
Give you a hint. GC. Yep. It's 1,450 miles long.
We need to look at our map. Colorado River. No.
Colorado River does not run through the Colorado River. What did it carve out, guys?
No, I went too far back. Okay, Colorado River.
What is this a picture of?
Grand Canyon.
Thank you.
Oh gosh. Okay.
GC is Grand Canyon. GC.
Yep, now I need to go, gosh. I feel like me too.
I wasn't trying to reinvent the wheel, just stating the obvious.
Yeah, if you right.
All right, extends. This is going to be the information we added to it. So what do we add today with this article?
We added that.
Did you know before this article that
The dams produce electricity.
there you go. The Hoover Dam produces a lot of electricity, doesn't it?
Yes. It even told us.
Produces electricity for 1.3 million people.
How many people?
1.3 million.
That's a lot of people. In other words, 30 million. Did we get electricity?
1.3. No.
Where do we get our electricity from?
Coal.
Coal?
Yes. Opposite of green. Green. We don't have green electricity here. Okay, so what else did we learn from the article? It prevents flooding. The Hoover Dam prevents flooding. All right, questions. What questions do you wonder now? Yes, Jordan.
What? Do we already know what's on the other side of it? Because I don't think it told us that.
It didn't. Logan.
Oh, what's on the water?
Does anybody wonder how the electricity is made?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
How is hydroelectricity made? Like, what is the process? Yeah, Amy, I get to erase all this and redo this twice more.
You have to erase all this?
Uh-huh.
No, that's not fair. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't have to.
Wouldn't normally mind, but this paper tears easily.
Yeah, look.
Yeah.
I was just erasing like really softly.
Just as an FYI, if you brace your paper like this in a small area and then erase, it goes easier. But you gotta brace it. Do it.
I couldn't do that.
He was literally on for 45 minutes.
Okay.
My other friend, Jackson. There he is. His internet must cut in and out.
What's that circle with the thing on it?
At.
Isn't that a circle with a swirl in it?
Mm-hmm. A with a circle around it.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to put an A?
Just, you can write at. Okay, when you finish, turn to page 87 in your notebook.
Is that an apple? Nope.
No, you're on page 85 right now. This next part is majority of your points. It's for 6 points. Yes, this is math, big numbers.
I am awesome at math, I'm pretty sure.
Hope you like millions.
Yes, I do.
Good. And percentages too, divided by millions.
What? This is going to be hard.
Science is the culmination of all subjects put together.
Why are they making us do all these hard things when we're in 4th grade?
Science is the culmination of all subjects put together.
Yeah, we've already had to do a lot of reading.
Yes.
Practically everything.
Science is the culmination of every subject. Yes. I was just discussing this with Miss Tran last night. And by the way, they don't give the teachers in science the answers, so I have to work everything out ahead of time.
Oh, you don't get the answers?
What?
If you don't get
No, they don't give me the answer, so I have to do all the work also. Come up with the answers. No, that way I know how to grade your stuff.
So did you already do it?
I've already done it. But I'm like, this is a pain, y'all. Y'all should give teachers, especially when it's like numbers like this with percentages. That's crazy. They don't give me the curriculum for social studies. That was $500.
What was?
The curriculum for social studies. Well, I'll take that back. They did give me a social studies curriculum after the first 9 weeks. I was like, what are you doing? A fourth of the year is gone. You give me a social studies curriculum. That was crazy. Yeah, you have 4 9 weeks. And October 10th, they posted the curriculum for social studies. I'm like, what are you doing? That was crazy. You want me to cut it off?
No.
My grandfather always said he cut things off if they hurt. All right, has everybody finished this? Everybody finished it?
Thank you very much.
All right, turn to page 87. This was worth 3 points. Okay, 3. This is worth 6 because it requires analysis. Okay. Analysis is looking at things and having to manipulate them and understand them. Okay. It is a little bit. Okay. To me, math is the easiest thing because it's simply taking numbers and manipulating them and then figuring out how the numbers relate to one another. I want you, before we do anything, look at these states. One state has more people in it than all the rest of the states put together.
Yeah.
California, it has a huge population, doesn't it? One state has a tiny population.
And that is 59 million.
No, that's not 59 million.
That's Nebraska. 59.25.
No. Wyoming has 500,000 people.
Where's Wyoming?
At the bottom.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Wyoming has 0.59. That's 500,000. California has 39.25 million people.
Wow.
That is 80 times more people than Wyoming.
And then the second one, that was the lowest. It will probably
Arizona. Second one is Arizona. But California has 40 versus Arizona having, well, about 39.
Nebraska.
But Nebraska's 2. Versus Arizona having 7. So California at 39 is 39 versus 7. What is that? Almost 6 times more than Arizona's population. So California has a lot more people in it. Much more populated. Of course, these are the numbers 4 years ago. Okay. Now look up here. This is before we even actually do our addition and stuff. We're just looking at the numbers crudely. The Glen Canyon Dam gives energy to 1.63 million people. Hoover Dam gives energy to 1.3. So 1.6 and 1.3, that's about 2.9 million. Now compare that to this. Is that giving energy to everybody? No, not at all. But still, it's giving energy to some of them, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it says it gives it, if you look at this, that's all of those states. Okay? So it's giving it to a small percentage of all the people in those states. It's better than nothing. That's a lot of people. That's almost 3 million people. Okay? Now, we're not actually doing the exact math yet. We'll do that in a minute. But I wanted you just to look at the estimations. No, it's not all the people on here, but hold on. But at almost 3 million people, that's still providing a lot of people's electricity, isn't it? That's better than Louisiana gets off green electricity, which is nothing. All of our electricity comes from coal, and coal burns black and puts pollution in the air. Yeah, a lot of it. Louisiana does not do a good job of using green electricity at all. It's money. This costs a lot of money to build these dams. Wind turbines are about $15 million a piece for the cheapest ones. How many do you think Louisiana can afford to put up?
Not a lot.
You think our school can afford to put one up?
Yes. No. They're way too expensive. 83 million.
All right, so turn to the back. It says how many people are provided with energy from the Glen Canyon and Hoover Dams combined. So what is it wanting you to do?
Add them together.
Add what together?
The Hoover Dam and the
So you're going to be adding these two numbers together to get that. This is number 1. Let's number these together. 1. Put the number on your page. Pick up your pencil and number it. Come on, pick up your pencil and number it. Number 2. Now, this one is asking you 2 things. You're going to, for number 2, add up all of those. Yep. That's number 2. This is number 1. Here is the second part of number 2. So I guess you'd call it 2B. Yeah, you are. I did by hand. I did it last year too. 2B is comparing this number to this number. This is adding these 2 numbers gets you this number. Everybody get that? 2B is comparing this sum to that sum. Got it? So 2B is compare number 2's sum to number 1's sum. Got it?
Can we put that down?
It would be good if you wrote that question down. Everybody write that down. Come on, write that down. Because that's going to be how you actually understand your numbers. Because if you just have a crude number, you're not going to understand this. This is why it's worth 6 points. Because you've got to get this comparison number.
It's kind of hard.
Not really.
It's always my little math class. Me too.
Yeah, her class is easier than mine.
Yep. Do we have to do this tomorrow?
No, this is today.
Thank you. Unless you don't finish it today.
RTI.
Compare number 2 sums to number 1 sum.
I'm going to go over number 3 and 4 so you know exactly what they're asking. Okay. Okay, I'll come back to this in a minute. Let's look at number 3 and number it. Number 3. What other ways do you think people living in these states get energy? 2 ways. Give me 2 ways. It is. Just give me 2 ways. Think about it. It is. Then number 4. If the dams aren't providing enough energy for all the people living in the states, why do you think the dams were built? Okay, so you need to number each one of these questions. Kind of annoying they didn't number them for us. And write on here 2 ways. Write on here 2 ways. Everybody write on it 2 ways, okay? Hunter, did you write on here 2 ways? Mr. Gooden, did you write on here 2 ways? Write on there 2 ways. Beside number 3, spin the other way in your chair, baby, so you don't have to spin as much. Other way. It's easier if you spin the other direction. And as soon as you have all that done, you can get started, guys. You got plenty of room right here. They give you a whole bunch of lines. Hello.
You could just sign by your name. We have some more meetings. And since they've already given y'all the official one, you can sign this one.
Today's date?
No, just to sign it. We're gonna do 10-9. They'll stay at those meetings. So it's all of you in the back. 6 of them. That. Now the last one will be 10-21 on BPA. Sure, it's the last one.
We're lucky today. We have to add in with millions.
Oh,
Need to work on this.
they give it a math.
Just more place values.
More zeros.
Wrong date.
21. Okay. Thank you. Back to me.
Steve Clark and Hunter. Yeah, because it doesn't have all the zeros behind it. It's just 1.3, 1.5, 1.63.
So you only have to do that. So then we add all of these.
Well, so every time there's something too hard, you start having to.
That's not all of it. It's not all of it at all. I saw that so.
Like, you need to work. Every day you have to leave. So sick. And work. Yep. I need to talk and to stop, and Joanna, you've had more than ample time to copy it down. So sit down at your desk.
They go over 100. So that if we go over 100 of
answer on this one. Watch 3 plus 5 plus 4 plus 1 plus 4 plus 8. You're just lining up your rows just like you do when you're adding hundreds. It's just you have a dot in the middle. Keep your dot in the same place.
If that right there, the number 3 goes over 100, does it make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So do we have to put a sentence?
What's that? No. Number.
There's numbers
Yes.
on it?
Yes.
Okay. Normally we have to put sentences.
I think I like to in class.
Me too.
What's that?
Huh?
What did you say?
You like the math class?
Yeah. It's easy. It doesn't have all zeros.
It doesn't. All you have to do is put million.
Yeah. And it's got a dot in there. Keep the dot in the spot.
This is easy. But the part that's the hardest is probably be adding all these together.
Just a little bit to it.
So I'm gonna add all the small.
She raised her hand. I'd like to hear a question. Glen Canyon, Hoover Dam.
So when we're adding these, how I don't
You add straight down.
just like this
Straight down.
for all the numbers.
Yes.
I'm gonna put all the small numbers and then add the big number that we get and then add it to the big number.
Guys, all you're doing is adding. That's it. Just like you add anything else. It's just a whole bunch of numbers. You're adding straight down. Keep the decimal place in the same spot. You've added decimals before, right?
Yes.
Okie dokie. You're just adding decimals.
That's not easy.
Okay, do them quietly.
Can we add up all total? Or,
It should be 2.9. 1 plus 1 is 2. And then 6 plus 3 is 9. And then we're going to drop down to 3. Okay. And then on this one, you're adding up all those numbers.
so you want me to add, total number?
No, no, this right here. 1 plus 1 is 2. 6 plus 3 is 9. And then you drop down to 3. So this number is 2.93. You added wrong. And then this one, you got to add all those numbers together. And then your 2B is when you compare the 2.93 to that total. Okay. Yep. Numbers are getting big, huh? And then it gets weird when you have to compare them. No, it's just more complicated.
It's hard when you do it this way. You do it all like that.
Your numbers are wrong. That's what you do.
I just got done with it.
All right, guys, I'm having to share something with my students who are virtual, both my temporary virtual and my permanent virtual. So while you do your job, let me do my job, okay? There are several in this class section. You finished all of it? Very nice. Come here, let me see your notebook. This is probably it. Where's the TV? Well, actually, 3. It's actually 4 percent. Guys, a lot of people are doing their number one wrong. You're not lining up your stuff right. You gotta line up your problems correctly. You got to keep your stuff correct when you're adding. Stop coming. Who is still working on number one? Okay, so a lot of people think they have an answer for number one. Who got 1.76 for number one? Who got about 2 point something? Okay, who got about 3? Anthony, push your desk up next to Michaela's. Who got 2.93? That's what your answer should be. Number one should be 2.93. All right, number two. Who's working on number two? Your answer should be 62.29. Your answer should be 62.29 when you add all that together. And yes, I added that up by hand this year and last year. 62.29. It's just a matter of adding, keeping those columns straight. Okay, I did mine right in my little book, so my book has all the numbers shrunk. I have less room to work than you guys do. You guys have more room than I do. And I did mine instead of comparing the 2.93 to 62.29, so that's about 3, and this is about 60. 3 compared to 20, that's about 20 times more. Instead of doing it that way, you can look at it like this. That's about 5%. 5% is the same thing as saying 20 times. Oh, 1/20. 5% is 1/20. It's the same thing. Okay, this is where having a good hold on number fluency, where it comes in handy. Knowing numbers. I'm obsessed about numbers. 5% is the same thing as saying 1/20, or 60 being 20 times 3. Okay, so 5% of the people in those 8 states get their electricity from those 2 dams. So when we say, why would they build these dams if they're only giving electricity to 5% of the people, were there only 2 dams on that Colorado River? How many dams did we see yesterday? A lot. 17. So clearly they knew enough to build more than 2. They built a bunch. No. All right, leave those there. We're going to finish it when we come back. Line up. Let's go. Go. Come on, dog. Come on, come on, come on. Trust me, he's gonna say something. Come on. Okay. All right, so just went over before I walk my kids to break. Taking this off for a little while since there are no kids in here. Just went over questions 1 and 2 with my students. I don't know if you can hear what I was saying to the board, but number 1, how many people are provided with energy from the Glen Canyon and Hoover Dams combined? The way you get that total is by adding 1.63 from the Glen Canyon Dam to the 1.3 million people serviced by Hoover Dam. 1 plus 1, of course, is 2. 6 plus 3 is 9. You drop down to 3. It's 2.93 million people get electricity from these 2 dams combined. So that's number 1. Number 2, how does this compare with the total number of people living within the states that get energy from the Glen Canyon and Hoover Dams? So to get that answer, you're going to add all these numbers together, and that comes up to 62.29 million. Okay. To B, I asked for students to compare this number, which is 62.29 million people, to 1A, or 1, which was 2.9 million, which is about 3. So 3 million people compared to about 20 million people. Well, let's see, hold up. 3 million people compared to about 60 million people. That's about like 3 compared to 60. 60 is 20 times bigger than 3. Okay. Or 3 is 1/20th of 60. So, hold on just a minute. All right. So 3 is 1/20th of 60. That's the same thing as saying 5%. So 5% of all the people who live in these 8 states that are serviced by these 2 dams get their electricity from these 2 dams. So the question, why would they worry with building dams if only 5% of the people would get their electricity from it? Well, if you remember from the maps that we looked at yesterday, or actually the maps that I just sent to some of my students, my freshman students, those, hold on, I'm doing 2 things at once. My brain is split. 17 dams are located on the Colorado River. So it's not just the Glen Canyon Dam and the Hoover Dam that service those 8 states. There's 17 dams. So 17 dams are actually providing electricity. It's just that right now we're only looking at the numbers for 2 dams. If we were adding up all the hydroelectricity garnered from 17 dams, this would be a much more complicated math problem. Thankfully, they didn't have us look at 17 dams. 17 would provide a lot more electricity. Okay, but these 2 dams alone provide the electricity for 5% of the people who live in those 8 states. Okay, so your answer up here is 2.93 million. Your answer down here is 62.29 million. Comparing the numbers, this number on number 2 is 20 times larger than the number in number 1. So that's your answer for 2B. Or you could state that number 1 is 5% of number 2. So in other words, Those two dams give electricity to 5% of the people who live in those 8 states. All right, number 3. What other ways do you think people living in these states get energy? Well, like we do. We get in Louisiana, we get all of our electricity from traditional energy sources, non-green energy sources. Our power plants here get their energy from coal, unfortunately. It's a very dirty energy source. We don't personally burn coal to get our electricity, but the power plant does. So coal-derived energy at the power plant. Also in California, they're going to be using wind turbines for another green energy source. They might use solar energy for another alternative energy source. They'd use solar panels on top of their house. So there's other ways to get energy, and people in the West would be using probably more alternative energy sources than we would here in Louisiana. Okay. Number 4, if the dams aren't providing enough energy for all the people living in these states, why do you think the dams were built? It's not that they're trying to get all of their energy serviced through the dams, but the dams are also providing entertainment because people are out there playing in the lakes. They're fishing in the lakes. They're getting fresh water from the lakes. They're controlling flooding through those dams. Go back to your page 83. They're producing electricity, definitely. They're trapping fish for fishing. So there's several uses for dams, okay? So pages 88 and 89, I need those submitted. That's worth 6 points. So pictures sent to me through Class Dojo. Then page 85, picture of that. That's worth 3 points. Page 83, picture of that. That is worth 4 points. Okay. Class Dojo messaged me all those pictures today. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. See you later.